Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another conversation from Stritch. We are excited for the show today. Lots of news as we begin the show, and we have a great guest coming at the latter half of the show. So this week, so much going on, but yesterday was an amazing event, 29th Annual Celebration of Service, which is a recognition ceremony in which we recognize the employees who have been here for a certain number of years, the employees who are receiving awards ranging from 10 to 40 years of service, all the people that are retiring from Lewis University. We recognize faculty and staff with certain prestigious LaSallian awards. These are kind of a yearly best-in-class awards. So I want to congratulate on the air this year's winners. The De La Salle Medallion for Exemplary Voluntary Service went to both Father Dan Torsen and Dr. Jung Kim. Our De La Salle Medallion for Community Engaged Learning went to Dr. Jennifer Buss. And our Distinguished LaSallian Educator, this is like kind of our highest award at the university that goes to the person who really exemplifies what a LaSallian educator is on campus, went to Deb Augsburger. Congratulations, Deb. It was amazing yesterday when you came up and felt like, you didn't deserve this, and I just want to say out loud to everybody here, you definitely deserved it. It was well deserved. So thank you for all that you do for Lewis University. Today, the Catholic Church celebrates the Feast of St. John Baptist de La Salle, founder of the Brothers of the Christian Schools and patron saint of teachers. To commemorate this occasion, Mass will be held at 4 p.m. in the Sancta Alberta Chapel. Father Dennis Lewandowski, our university chaplain, will preside, and Brother Rob Veselski, FSC university minister, will offer a reflection on what it means to be a Christian brother, and he's had decades of experience as a brother, but also as a teacher, as a leader. So we'll really look forward to that. Please join us for the Mass this afternoon at 4. Friday, April 8th, that is tomorrow, is the 2022 Day of Giving at Lewis University. So what I want to say to everybody about this is if you go to the website or stop into the Student Center tomorrow, you will see something that each of you care about on this campus, because there's 20-something different ways in which your giving can make a significant impact on what we do here at Lewis University's impact, both locally, nationally, and really globally in terms of what we do with our students, through our students. So please consider giving. Again, you can stop into the Student Center, or you can go online and give to any of the departments and funds that are on there. There's a pair of signature Lewis University Spirit Socks will be sent to any gift of $25 or more. The website is alumni.lewisu.edu, give 2022. And I also want to say that Integrity Trade Services, and a big shout out to Mike Cumby, who we met with a few weeks ago asking him for this gift, is matching dollar for dollar giving for tomorrow's giving up to $30,000. So that first $30,000 is going to be matched dollar for dollar. So as you give your $10, $20, $50, $100, it's going to turn into $20, $100, or $200. All gifts can be made on any time between now and tomorrow. So Day of Giving is tomorrow. University Advancement will be hosting the celebration, as I said, in the Gaffney Center. And all are welcome to stop by and make a gift and get your socks. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is tonight is the President's Art Show. I don't judge the art, because if I did, it would be a really bad thing, but I do give out the prizes. So we award prizes to the artists in our community who have put artwork up. Love for you to stop by at 7 o'clock tonight, congratulate the winners of those awards. But also you can stop by even this afternoon, or for the next, I think it's up for the next week. So stop by the Wadsworth Gallery either tonight at 7 or some other time.
And what's the art that's on display at the art show?
The art that is on display are artistic pieces from our community. So students, faculty and staff can also, but mostly it's students. And so these are pieces that they have submitted to the art show. They're initially screened by, again, this professional panel. And then the screening is what gets I think there's 45 pieces up in this show. And then after that screening, then they pick out the top 3 winners and give out awards. So it's always a fun night. There'll be a reception tonight, so stop over at 7. And of course, men's volleyball and the Christian Brothers Bash is tonight. I'll talk about that later. So big day today. And Chris, you have some stuff about what's going on campus.
Yeah, some more stuff. So the musical Return to the Forbidden Planet also continues this weekend with performances tonight through Sunday at the Philip Lynch Theater, 7:30 p.m. at the evening performances, and Sunday and Saturday at 2:30 and 3:30 respectively. So that's 2:30 Sunday, 3:30 Saturday matinees of that great musical. I'm going Friday night, tomorrow night, I think. I'm really looking forward to it. We're also in the midst of Lewis's participation in the virtual symposium focused on the legacies of American slavery, hosted by the Council of Independent Colleges and the Gilder Lehrman Center for the Study of Slavery, Resistance, and Abolition at Yale University. The symposium is in its 3rd day now, and this afternoon at 1:30 will feature Lewis's own Dr. Tennille Allen, presenting with Delinda Herod of the Fairmont Community Partnership Group in a session entitled Voices of Change and Community, in conjunction with presenters from Meredith College in North Carolina. So I really look forward to that. There's one more session after that one that's really focused on teaching and the challenges of teaching the legacies of American slavery in our current climate. So I really encourage people to register if you have not already registered for that virtual symposium this afternoon. The 10th annual Celebration of Scholarship will be held next Thursday, a week from today, April 21st. The Celebration of Scholarship is our annual showcase or is that 2 weeks from today? That's 2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today.
The annual showcase of student scholarship, research, and creative activity includes a keynote delivered by Thomas Lynch IV, an alum and senior scientist at AbbVie Pharmaceutical Research and Development. He's an alum of biology from 2011 at the lunchtime, and then poster sessions, concurrent panels, and an evening awards ceremony at 6. So that's a major event every year at Lewis, an incredible showcase of our student scholarship, research, and creative activity in a wide range of different fields and disciplines, something I really look forward to. I know we both look forward to attending and seeing the amazing work of our students. So that will be in 2 weeks. The Lewis University of Mathematics faculty and students presented multiple research talks at the Illinois section of the Mathematical Association of America's 2022 annual conference in late March at Millikan University in Decatur, Illinois. Lewis University junior math major Miles Mena was honored with the ISMA, that's the abbreviation of the association I just said, Outstanding Undergraduate Research Award at the Illinois section of the Mathematical Association's conference. And Lewis University Assistant Professor of Mathematics Marie Meyer was honored with the 2022 ISMA Early Career Teaching Award at the Illinois section of the Mathematical Association. So again, that's the entire state of Illinois. Early Career Teacher Award. One of our professors won the same award last year. There are many, many other universities teaching math in the state of Illinois, so it's an incredible distinction for our math department to be continued to be honored. Dr. Meyer, the award honored Dr. Meyer for her significant impact on the mathematics program here, her creativity and innovation in courses, engaging students with experiments and presenting new ideas. She's described as energetic, engaging, student-focused, and incorporating a wide range of teaching techniques in her classroom, including group work, activities, clicker questions, and active lectures. Lewis student Alexander Piotrowski and Dr. James Talon, Associate Professor of History, both presented papers on March 17th at the 64th Annual Missouri Conference on History in Jefferson City, Missouri, both on different topics related to the Polish Ottoman Empire in different periods of history, different centuries in history. Dr. Matt D'Amico, Assistant Professor of Psychology, and Dr. Valerie Hill, Professor of Psychology, recently co-authored a book entitled What You Need to Know About Alzheimer's Disease, published by ABC Clio. The book is part of a series called Inside Diseases and Disorders, which examines the etiology, diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of major medical and physical health conditions that affect the world today. So I mentioned Professor D'Amico. A second ago, I talked about Dr. Meyer. They are actually the co-chairs of our celebration of scholarship, and they will be our guests the week, I guess it's the week after the celebration of scholarship. They'll be coming on, and each of them will be talking to us about the great student research that they are featuring in celebration of scholarship. But obviously we can ask them about their own incredible work as teachers and scholars.
Well, and you and I talk about this a lot, Chris. In our new strategic plan, we talk about this whole focus on experiential learning, the Lewis experience, what Lassallean pedagogy is, and so much of what you just went through is really central to this Lassallean pedagogy.
Yeah.
Really excellent professors who are doing cutting edge creative work in their field, but bringing students along. And then when we do celebration of scholarship, we're really celebrating from, creative expressions all the way through very scientific new work. I just think it's amazing that week in and week out we're able to talk about not only what our professors are doing, but what our students are doing. So it's just it's incredible, the volume.
And I would just add, relevance to our communities into that mix. And one more announcement before we leave this topic. Dr. Hannah Klein, Assistant Professor of Justice Law and Public Safety Studies, published a paper called presented a paper, How Do We Characterize Street-Oriented Youth Groups and Prevent Violence, was accepted by the Stockholm Prize in Criminology Symposium to be held in Sweden this summer. So that's very exciting that she's traveling to Sweden to deliver that major paper on such an important topic and research that is based in Chicago communities.
Yeah, and in addition to all of this amazing scholarly activity by both our students and faculty, we also have a significant amount of athletics going on. So I wanted to congratulate the Lewis University women's golf team, who won the Music City Invitational with a team score of 610 on Monday and Tuesday at the Hermitage Golf Course. I do want to say, when Joan and I lived in Tennessee a long time ago, 30-some years ago, and lived in Hermitage. So I don't know the course specifically, but really excited that the women won down in Tennessee. The third win of the season for the Flyers. Other contests that are happening this weekend. Softball is in Hammond this afternoon, playing a doubleheader against Purdue Northwest. And then they travel to Rockhurst on Saturday and William Jewell on Sunday. Men's volleyball, as I said earlier, hosts Quincy tonight at 7 p.m. The Christian Brothers Bash in honor of John Baptiste de La Salle. And then they host Lindenwood on Saturday at 5 p.m. Baseball hosts Quincy tomorrow at 2 p.m. and then again in a doubleheader on Saturday starting at noon and Sunday at noon. Men's and women's track travels to Terre Haute, Indiana tomorrow to compete in the Pace Setter Invitational this weekend. Women's lacrosse will be hosting Rockhurst tomorrow at 6 p.m. and Missouri Western on Sunday at noon. And then men's and women's tennis travel to McHenry to compete on Saturday to the William Jewell and then to William Jewell on Sunday. And finally, men's lacrosse competes at Lindenwood on Saturday. Now, all of these seasons are edging towards the end. Yeah. Many of these matches and games are incredibly important in terms of the playoff picture as we get into the last few weeks of the season. So it's certainly an exciting time of year for Flyer athletics.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to seeing some of those contests tomorrow and Saturday on our campus. So a couple notes about COVID. As is our custom every week, the Will County cases per 100,000 was 66 on Tuesday. It's really been at that same level for many, many weeks in a row. So it's holding in that orange zone, but not going radically up. The positivity ratio is up a tiny bit to 3%. Community level is still low, as it is all across the state of Illinois. And we've had one positive case last week and 0 so far this week. And our vaccination rates are holding about the same as they were both in the county and in our community. The policies that apply to the spring semester continue to be the same. And the face coverings are required only in classrooms, labs, and other specifically identified locations. Booster status reporting is required. Unvaccinated individuals need to submit tests on Thursdays, and we'll continue to have weekly testing in Memorial Hall Monday through Friday from 9 to 4 until further notice. And as always, remember to report positive test symptoms and to upload vaccination or booster updates as you get them. I did want to make a couple of comments before making a few announcements about COVID. As we look to the summer and fall, we are beginning to operate under the primary assumption that we will have a reduced and ongoing presence of COVID-19 in our communities. And a lot of times when we talk about this or hear about it in the news, it's it's referred to as a transitioning to an endemic phase or an endemic response. And as we make that transition, we'll recognize that while the virus remains present in society, the community spread and stress on our healthcare systems has been significantly reduced. So I did want to make a couple announcements starting on May 9th. Lewis University will be mask optional and mask friendly in all of the spaces on our campuses. The members of our community will be strongly encouraged to stay up to date on COVID-19 vaccinations. We'll follow state orders and CDC guidelines regarding vaccinations as they evolve over the next year. And then finally, as I just said, currently the members of our community are required to share their COVID-19 vaccination status, report positive cases, and continue to follow all aspects of the Flyers Promise. And we'll probably have more detail about some of these things as we get closer to the fall semester, for example, and we will probably revise some of the language in the Flyers Promise to reflect this endemic phase as we continue our dialogue around what that really means to be a member of a community in a university in this kind of post-pandemic phase or in this endemic phase. The efforts to stay healthy and protect each other in the community are again, not expected to be burdensome or extraordinary, and consistent with our LaSallian mission and the belief that our campus is a sanctified zone. Faculty, staff, and students are asked to pledge their responsibility for their own health and well-being and to help keep all members of the community safe from the spread of COVID and other illnesses.
So could I I want to emphasize, you gave a date, but just to kind of give people the sense of what that transition means. So it's right after commencement. It's the start of the summer semester. Mm-hmm. So most of these things have been connected to places of learning, when we said classrooms and some other spaces. So that transition is really at the start of the summer session. So if people,
That's right.
For employees, it might seem like, why May 9th? Mm-hmm. For students, it's because we're switching to summer semester. So all the spring semester and every activity connected to the spring semester is under current rules, as you already mentioned. Mm-hmm. And as we transition to summer, the new set of regulations on campus will go into effect.
And maybe one other quick thing to explain is that some of the rules around the testing, especially, are state mandates. And the state of Illinois has been extending those rules month to month as the last few months have gone by. And so it's extended currently until April 30th. We don't know if it will be extended past that. But so there may be some announcements at that time or over the summer with changes to the testing requirements for unvaccinated individuals, which is the biggest part of this set of rules and regulations that is really mandated by the state.
And you've mentioned this before too, Chris, and we want to get to our guests, but just another quick comment. This is a nice, in some sense, transitional period because so many of our summer classes are actually online. It's more, it's easier for students who are at a distance, who go home to Bloomington, Illinois, or Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So there will be classes. We'll have summer research. We'll have lots of things, but relative to the total number of students, it's a nice way for us to kind of phase in these new things. And then with the fall, we expect these to continue.
Yeah.
So it's just a period of transition that makes it relatively easy. But it is a big transition for us because we've been in this, face coverings either everywhere, now down to just classrooms, and now it'll be optional, but very supportive community for face coverings for everybody.
Great.
Exciting. So now we can talk to our guest.
Transitions, we'll transition
yes.
to welcome our guest. Very pleased to welcome and introduce our guest today, Dr. Julie Cosimo, Director of Career Services at Lewis. Dr. Cosimo earned her BA in Psychology from the University of Illinois at Chicago, her Master's in Education in College Student Personnel from Loyola University of Chicago, and her EDD in Higher Education and Organizational Change from Benedictine University. Her professional experience includes working in private higher education for over 25 years in the areas of career services, academic support, disability services, and leadership development. So, Julie, welcome. So great to have you with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
My first question is, you are somebody, I believe, who started at Lewis during the pandemic.
I did.
So
That's correct.
I know for you, it probably feels like you've been working here a long time, but for some people, it might be, oh, there's a new director of the.
That's true.
And so,
And I've never met her because
And I've never
it's
met
been
her.
COVID.
That's
just
right.
tell us a little bit about how long have you been here, and what were you doing right before?
Sure. So I started here in July of 2021. And like you said, I started during the pandemic. So I'm learning everybody's name and making connections to the faculty and to the staff here at Lewis. Prior to this, I worked at another private college at Benedictine University, overseeing what was called their Academic and Career Enrichment Center that housed career services, academic support services, and disability services. And prior to that, I worked in other private colleges, doing a little bit of career services, leadership development, orientation. So my whole career basically has been spent in private higher education, working with students.
Wonderful. Well,
So we have many technologies that help our students out. So one of them is Handshake. Could you talk a little bit about Handshake and how it benefits our students?
Yeah, so Handshake is a wonderful recruiting talent platform, right? And it's for our students and our alumni to use. It's a platform that houses basically everything. So it houses everything from our full-time and internship positions, as well as our student worker positions here on campus. It allows you to post events and, for example, our Career Expo was on Handshake, and students can register, employers can register on the system. It allows, the best thing is that it allows students to make connections with employers. So students can set up their profile, or alumni, they can set up their profile, and once their profile is complete, employers can start seeing their profile based on their skills and what they've actually entered into the system, and start making those connections with those students. So they can invite them for interviews, they can ask for their documents. So one of the great things I think is really an advantage to having Handshake is that students can post their resumes into the system. It does not go live until one of our career advisors actually reviews the resume and provides some kind of feedback. Because obviously we want to make sure that our students are presented as professional as possible, right? And that they are competitive. So we actually review that resume before it goes live.
So kind of putting your best foot forward. You don't want to make that little typo in your resume that you've read it 10 times.
Right.
We've all done that. I do it all the time. You read something over 10 times
Yes.
and you think you for sure got rid of every typo, and then somebody else looks at it and in the first paragraph, they find that typo. So it's really it's a great service to our students to allow them to, I guess, not make that simple mistake and make an initial impression in which, you didn't care enough about it, because the career counselors care is the bottom line.
Absolutely.
And that's really what you're, kind of communicating through that. So, I will say one of the things, I was just so I started my day downtown Joliet at a Chamber of Commerce event for kind of, leaders in, business leaders in the community. And it was a bunch of educators. But the thing that came up again was talent, how hard it is to find talent, how many employees are looking for people. So tell me a little bit about how you see it as a professional in the field, and what it might mean for our students. I don't know if you have any thoughts on kind of how long it's going to last, or how we as a university can, both help our students and help those employers who are really looking for people in this morning it was people in education, people in healthcare, but people just in manufacturing and other business sectors. So, give me a little sense of how you see this talent shortage as we have heard about it in the news so often.
Yeah, so I was just reading the statistics that actually in 2020, when the pandemic hit, 30 million boomers retired, either were forced to retire or took early retirement. And they're saying now by 2030, we're going to see 85 million, right? So that creates a huge talent shortage in many different industries. Some of them you mentioned, sales, logistics, communication, healthcare, education. And we're seeing it from we're seeing it from a different lens, right? We have employers that are pounding on our doors because they want our students, and they need applicants, and they need to hire quality applicants, not just applicants. So what I have to say to students and both alumni is, like, I feel like the oyster's your world right now. Yeah. So apply as often as you can, and really open up the doors in terms of the type of positions that you're willing to apply to. That's really crucial, because at the end of the day, it's not always about what you major in, but it's also about those transferable skills, right? Employers are looking at those core competencies that students have and alumni have that would be an asset to their company. So get in the Career Center and have us work with you to make sure that you have your documents ready to go, that you are prepared to interview well, that you know how to have a wide reach when it comes to applying for positions, what resources you should be looking at in terms of applying to positions, so that you are prepared once, say, an employer reaches out to you in Handshake, you are prepared to take that interview. We have wonderful tools. We have Big Interview, right? It's a service that we provide free to students, where students can actually practice their interviews. They can be videotaped. We have, what can you do with a major in? So maybe we have a student that's not really sure what direction they're going in. Take advantage of some of those resources.
So maybe just expand on that a little bit. If you were a student, and maybe there are some students watching who are in the very beginning of their time at Lewis, they're in their first year, others are maybe have transferred in, or they're realizing that this is an important topic a little later in their career. Like what can students be doing to best prepare themselves for career placement, and in addition to coming to the Career Center, in a more holistic way?
I always think of students, all of us, I don't think we realize how wide our network is, right? So I think about, yes, the resume is like the crucial thing to get you started, but I think students should be talking to as many people as they can. Talk to their faculty members. Think about asking somebody to be a mentor to you, right? Even your parents, they may know somebody that's working in that field, of what you're thinking of going into, perhaps you can go to them and say, would you be willing to offer advice to me? Would you be willing to serve as a mentor while I go down this journey, right? Help me get there, help me understand what this industry is all about. So that's one thing. I think that sometimes we are we're raised to be very humble and we don't want to ask for help, but you'd be amazed how many people would help you go down that journey to find a lifelong career that you're really passionate about. So that's another thing, but also they should be talking to their faculty members, right? Their faculty have a lot of experience in that industry. Talk to them as well. Practice interviewing. Well, I'm going to keep saying, come to the Career Center and come see us, right? Come to the Career Center. I'm going to keep saying that over and over and over. But, tap into all these wonderful resources that are available to you.
So you mentioned earlier that sometimes students don't appreciate transferable skills. So could you talk a little bit about what a 4-year experience at a place like Lewis can do, and what are those transferable skills? I mean, you mentioned one about kind of, I don't know, it feels to me like it was some, around the ability to interview, but that is also about kind of public speaking, confidence, being able to look somebody in the eye, do all those kinds of things. So what are the activities that a student can participate in over their 4 years that you think, you've worked with thousands of students.
Right.
What are the backgrounds of those students that seem to have those transferable skills? Because it's not something that all of us have. You don't graduate as a senior in high school and have all these transferable skills polished off. I mean, some have better than others. But could you talk a little bit about what are those things that you think employers really want and how you see students gaining them kind of year over year?
Yeah. So we're hearing employers talk a lot more about these career readiness competencies, right? And this involves things like digital technology and teamwork and oral and written communication skills and leadership skills. And now this is, our National Association, they developed these competencies. Now they're talking about career management, for example. That's another competency. How do you manage your career for a lifetime? Global and intercultural fluency is huge. How do you work with people that are opposite of you, that are diverse in nature? And because no matter where you go, you will be working with people that are not like you, right? So, to think about how do you take those competencies, right? How do you learn those competencies? One is in the classroom, but there's so many more things. When you look at a successful student that, got that first job out of college that they're very proud of, or they're going on to graduate school, you look at what they've done during the 4 years, and a lot of them have they've done that internship, right? Now employers are saying, we want them to have 2 internships. They've done study abroad work, okay, where they've had to work with other cultures. They've, and I tell students, join a club and organization, but don't just join the club and organization. Take a leadership role where you actually learn what it's like to, be a treasurer, manage the books. You learn how to coordinate events. Take part in research opportunities if you can. Service learning, volunteer opportunities. So this, when we're looking at students that are very successful in their job search process and really have attained their goals and where they want to go, we see that these students started, 1, very early, freshman year, and 2, have partaken in all of these different wonderful experiences outside of the classroom.
That's great.
So I want to remind everyone that we have the Ask Us at lewisu.edu on the screen, and if you have questions for Julie, please write them in and we will get them asked. There was a question that came in already that essentially is about how many employers we have, and you and I have been at the career fairs, and when this huge number of tables full of employers, and then you talked about the ones participating in in the kind of technology interface. So how many are there? Who are they? I think the question is kind of like, does
Yeah.
Lewis have enough
Yeah.
connection to
Yeah.
the employment?
Yeah, so we are connected to, if not hundreds, thousands of employers, right? And the other piece of this is that we are connected to alumni that are employers who are looking to recruit our students. Our alumni are very engaged with our Lewis students. And when you look at you talked about Career Expo, and I just want to touch on that a little bit. This was the first one we did coming out of the pandemic, right? We skipped a year, and yet the house was filled. It was filled, right? We had 85 plus employers in that room wanting to interview Lewis students.
In that whole range of fields that you
In
were
a
just
whole
talking
range
about.
of fields, yeah, they were. It was very diverse in nature in terms of what they were looking for. When they go on Handshake, and I'm going to keep preaching Handshake because I think it's a wonderful tool, they'll see so many employers that they can connect with, because an employer can, post a position to Lewis and then other universities as well, so students have access to those jobs as well. So yes, we have many, many, many employers that we are connected to here at the university, and so do our faculty. Our faculty often have those networks as well, right? So they'll send over a position or an alum who wants to hire a Lewis student. So again, it's talking about that network web that, is just growing always and consistently growing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A question
go
just
ahead.
came in that's
Yeah.
kind of related to Handshake. I was wondering the same thing when you were talking about Handshake is, as a college student, should I be active on social media sites like LinkedIn?
Absolutely, absolutely. LinkedIn is a wonderful tool to connect with employers, to start. LinkedIn is one of those tools where the more you post, the more visibility you get. So then people start seeing you there, but they also can do a search by skill level or a job, a position that they may be looking to recruit. It allows them to connect to other people that are in their industry. So definitely. It also, things like Twitter, be looking at Facebook, because I know like Career Services, they have a Facebook page, and we're constantly posting positions up there, or we're posting events that not just our department's doing, but other departments are doing. So definitely be on LinkedIn.
So can I flip that around a little bit, the social media question? That question came in, appropriate question, LinkedIn. But what are the dangers of social media from an employer point of view? For students to just, maybe it's obvious, but it just, I think it feels from a career services point of view, employers can look up your Twitter feed or your, Snapchat as you apply. And if you've posted, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's good social media behavior, and there's the possibility that I could lose a job because of my social media posts, right? I don't want to overstate it, but I
Yes.
think people have to understand the way in which social media sticks around, and you can do some really positive things by posting that you just got elected the president of the, nursing association club or whatever. Great thing to put on LinkedIn or anywhere else. And then you could also post yourself, at a party doing something stupid on Snapchat, and that might also be there.
That's a great point. And people really have to use discretion and understand that employers are looking at those Facebook posts. They are. When an employer is serious about you, they are going to every social media site to see what you're really about. So you have to use discretion in terms of what you are posting on those social media sites, right? I remember listening to a presentation once where this guy was talking about social media, and it was at one of my previous institutions, and he said, let me just look up what these students are doing at your university. And he pulled up all this information about, like you said, they were having parties, and they're posting, drinking parties and silly things that they're doing. So you're right, you have to use a lot of discretion when you're posting on those.
We had another question come in, a really great question about decision. I think if I understand the question right, it's, the job market is so good and so many of our students need to work for all number of reasons. You can make a lot of money, good hourly wage at a place like Amazon. That was the specific thing in the question, but you could extrapolate that to many types of jobs. And if you have a choice between making that money at Amazon or doing an internship that's unpaid or doing some other lower paid thing that is more in line with your professional aspirations or your career aspirations, what would you say to that question?
Wow, that's a tough question, right?
It is.
Because it's really a big decision that somebody has to make, and they have to make it according to what's right for them. And I understand there are, like you said, there are a variety of reasons why students work, right? Some of them really need to make a salary to pay their bills. And but what I would say is those positions like Amazon, for example, that are good paying jobs, there's a lot of value to taking on those positions as well. They learn a lot of really great skills when they're working. You think about the Amazon driver. Oh, they're just a driver. No, they're not just a driver. They're learning customer relation skills. They're learning organizational skills. And so it's all about how they portray that in their resume, right? But I would say, in addition to that, I think students really should make it a priority to try to do an internship in their field. That's really important. However, they can. And now we're seeing more virtual internships pop up. So maybe that's always an option, that they can do these remotely, right? And we're seeing a lot of after hours internships. So if they can try to, weave that in, it's going to be really important. I don't think, and usually an internship is between a semester long. Sometimes it can last a year, depending on the employer. But if they can somehow weave that in addition to the part-time position they have, maybe they do it during the summer when they're not taking classes. But I definitely would encourage them, if they can, to get that, to take on that really meaningful work experience that an internship offers.
So just to follow up on that question a little bit, so I really appreciate you saying this is a hard decision, individual decision. If I can make $20 an hour at Amazon, and I'm thinking of like maybe somebody that might be going into a healthcare profession, that I could work at St. Joe's or Silver Cross. I might be making $16 an hour, $15 an hour as a transporter. But maybe I get to know that culture, and I can put on my, I want to be a nurse there. I'm in the nursing program here. And as you say, that $4 an hour decision might be, I really need to take the $20 an hour. But there may be, and I guess what I was going to ask is there any recommendation in time? Like, is it my freshman and sophomore year? Maybe I work at Amazon, but my junior year, I take a little cut in pay to start working at either the organization or in the field. Because I think sometimes people could work at an organization that they want to work at eventually. And maybe it's better to work at Target than Amazon if I really want to eventually be a purchasing agent at Target. So I don't know if that, I don't know if you could talk about that.
And Target has really good training program, by the way, 2-year training program. So I'm glad you brought that up. But yeah, I think that the timing of it is important. So students should really be thinking about doing an internship their junior or senior year. And you're right. I'm sure perhaps they can find an internship that links to their major or what they want to get into, like you said, in a hospital setting or in a retail if they're going into business, right? So I think the timing of it is really important. And perhaps, again, they look at those Amazon positions. Maybe they can do something in the evening time to, to make additional money so they can pay their bills.
So we're running a little short on time, so I think we maybe we'll end at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about the Career Center.
Sure.
And I think we might have a visual about it as well. And just in terms of the really basic breadth of what it does for our students.
Yeah, so the Career Center is a centralized department where students can tap into the resources that we offer, and I talked about a few of them, right? They can work, they can have help with their resume and the cover letter, they can help with get help with interviewing, we have that great tool, Big Interview. In fact, I know like our own Dr. Machiri and Dr. Sheila Boyson, like they embed assignments for that even in the curriculum, which is great. They can, they can meet one-on-one with our career advisors. And what I really like about the Lewis model is that our career advisors are designated by major. So a student will get assigned a career advisor based on their major, and those advisors are industry experts, right? Because they work closely with the faculty, make sure that, if there's any new technology, for example, that is being utilized out in the industry, what does that translate into on the resume? So that's another thing. We offer a lot of different programming. So Career Expo is one of them. Meet the Firms is another virtual event we do in the fall. We work closely with the College Career Consortium of Illinois, where we do a big fair with 16 or 17 private colleges. And that usually takes place in February. We do a fall interview day with them for business majors. So there's a lot of different programming that are going on as well. And the other thing I want to end with, because I know we're running short on time, all these services are free to alumni once they graduate, right? I look at life planning, to me, and life career planning is the core mission of career services, right? It's not just about what's going on their freshman or junior or senior year. It's about what they do after they graduate as well.
That's great. It's great. Any last comments, Chris?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, and I love this topic, and we really didn't even get into it because there's so much to talk about, but it's such a key element of Lewis education that it begins no matter where you start, what program you're in. We embed that kind of vocational discernment in terms of deciding what you really care about in life and what you really want to do. And everything that the Career Center is doing, Dr. Cosimo is doing, is just so aligned with helping students along that pathway of self-discovery and applying it to having a meaningful professional life here. So I think just so grateful to you and everyone on the staff there, and thank you for coming today.
Well, thank you. I'm very happy to be here today, and I love doing this work. So I hope that students and alumni will come see us. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Julie, for taking the time. I want to say a goodbye, a couple things. So happy feast day again, Feast of St. John Baptist de La Salle. We won't be on next week because of Easter. We won't be on the following week because of celebration of scholarship.
That's right.
So 2 weeks off, and when we come back, we are going to celebrate the celebration of scholarship. Talk to the faculty that lead it, a couple of the winners in different categories. So we're really excited about that show and excited about the end of the year. But want to say goodbye for a couple weeks, and we wish you nothing but the best. Have a wonderful Easter and many blessings to you and your family.